The official reveal trailer for College Football 26 has officially come out, and there was a lot of information you guys might have missed, as well as a lot of information that was posted on EA's official website that I'm going to go over in today's video. But before I do, as always, if you guys want to see more videos like this, please make sure to be a subscriber, hit the like button, let me know in the comment section. Other than that, let's get right into the video. Now, a couple days ago, EA released a statement from the VP of Franchise Strategy and Marketing from EA Sports saying that one of the biggest focuses was essentially authenticity across the athlete, stadiums, coaches, and fans to give a more unique college football experience that people want, and the trailer really shows that. Now, first I want to go over some things that we saw in the trailer before I get into the written article that was on EA's website, which gives you a lot more in-depth information. As one of the first things we see is there was a lot of focus on night games, which I know was one of the things that a lot of people asked for, where the presentation is definitely different. You can see there's some sort of drone show going on, showing the logo of just about every single team, starting off with Cal, then forming to Nebraska. I'm guessing this is something that we'll see in the opening game presentation of every night game, no matter what team you play with. Next up, we see a new pregame animation with Clemson getting off a team bus, so that's something they probably added to the animation at the start of every game. We get to see our first coach in game, which is something that they said has over 300 coaches, and considering there's only 136 teams, that means there might be on average about 3 coaches per team. Maybe the offensive and defensive coordinators are in this game as well. Then they do a transition from college to high school. We get our first look at what the high school stadium is going to look like. You can see the really small bleacher section, which is really cool. We get a look at the high school fans to show that they really animated the fans better. I know the college football fans were terrible looking, but here you can see that they just look much more lifelike. They look more realistic and they look more passionate. You can almost get like a shaky cam feel of these passionate high school fans. We get a look at what running out on the field in high school was going to look like in Road to Glory mode. Then you got the 3 hats here, which is going to signify obviously when you make your commitment to which school. A lot of people are questioning if you're going to be able to choose any school in the game or if it's going to have only a small select number of schools to choose from. We have no confirmation on that just yet, but I don't see any small schools in these hats. And if we go over to EA's website, they have another picture to show the hat ceremony where once again you have 3 major schools, no small schools. So I feel like this is going to kind of be on rails when it comes to what schools you could pick. I'll go over a little bit more information from the website about Road to Glory because it does say about how they do have 10 new archetypes, but they don't talk about new positions, which I feel like they would add here if there was new positions in the game. And they talk about the process being pretty similar to previous years of Road to Glory, with the one thing that they show here that's a little bit different. It says that you can commit early, and if you found the perfect fit, or you can decommit if a better opportunity comes your way, before they talk about the ability to basically go through college and then basically become a superstar in Madden 26. After that, there's a long portion where they're showing some new animations when it comes to running out onto the field, as presentation, pregame presentation really is one of the most important things. And then we get a revamped look of the actual fans in the stands once again. A lot more excitement throughout the entire crowd. You can see the entire crowd is jumping, they're pumping their hands, which looks really cool. It's much better than last year's, as we also get our first look at some new entrances, including Texas Tech's The Masked Rider, who was not in last year's game at the start of the game. You got the Fighting Irish here with the band spelling out the word Irish, which I don't think it was in the game before. You got Penn State doing the We Are Penn State, coming out together holding hands, which is something I don't think was in the previous game. You get to see Ryan Day with Ohio State, obviously, and then we get to see Virginia Tech as the bass drops on Enter Sandman, which obviously was a very important song that was missing. And it's really going to be interesting to see if they can capture the energy and the intensity that Virginia Tech has when they come out into the football field, especially in the stadium when Enter Sandman comes out. It can't be just your run-of-the-mill animation. And this is something that they did elaborate a little bit more on their website. As it says, fill the stadium shakers to discover more of your school's unique pageantry, traditions, and sounds with new PA tracks, including Metallica's Enter Sandman, 160 new school-specific chants, new mascots, and band music. And they also suggest that they're, instead of having just the typical drum line, which played over and over and over in the menus last year, that they're going to have to change it up to the point where we're bringing new marching band covers of popular songs to the menus, as well as fight songs from schools around the country. So this is something that you're going to have a little bit more of a personalized experience. Maybe when you choose Virginia Tech as your favorite school, you'll just be hearing Enter Sandman over and over in the menus, which is going to be obviously a little bit better than hearing the same drum line over and over. from last year's game. We got a lot of new intros. You can see right here we got them running out of the Pirate Skull, which I don't think was part of East Carolina intro before. You have some new intros here with the Army and the Navy, which I think is something that's new to the game. Like I said, I'm not sure if all these are, but you're seeing a lot of additions where I think it's going to be additions to the presentation for these individual schools, which is something that a lot of people really wanted to see, and it looks like EA is delivering on that promise. But I didn't get a chance to play as all 134 teams last year, so if you guys see some new additions to your favorite school, let everybody know in the comment section, because like I said, I didn't follow necessarily every single one of them. They show a couple of mascots, which once again, I'm not sure if they're new or if they're in the game last year, but I know this particular animation that I'm going to show you here with this train would have stood out. The Gamecocks here, I think that would have stood out. Then we get a quick look at Bryce Underwood, who's obviously going to be one of the biggest additions to the game. He was a top recruit of the 2025 class, playing for Michigan. You can see him throwing a football here. Maybe that's to show off some new animations. Really hard to say, but they show a lot of catches that make you wonder if there's new catching animations, including this one here as he reaches for the goal line, which is obviously a new animation as well. Some that's been in Madden for years, but it was never in college football. And then you also get a look at some collisions where they're showing you guys the new, potentially some trucking animations, some new hit stick animations, as they really want to show that last year's wonky graphics when it comes to collisions are potentially over. Then we get to see some unique things from certain schools. I'm not really too familiar with Rice here. You got the little walking stick, but I know the next two are based off of turnovers, so I'm imagining it's the same thing with the golden shoulder pads, which you get for forcing a turnover at Georgia, or the Arizona sword, which is something that you get if you get an interception or a fumble in Arizona. So I would imagine that the Rice one's the same. But all of this is really just trying to showcase how each individual school is getting the attention it deserves as far as putting the traditions that they have into the game for people that buy this game. And they mentioned a few more of these on their website once again. Saddle up in Stillwater, hoist the golden egg, and raise the sword as the king of turnovers in Coastal Carolina. Just letting you guys know that no school is too small for them to add these type of traditions into the game. And that goes a step further into the playbook, as it takes a minute here to show some really unique play design, which is essentially, you have a running back going in motion in the one direction, then it turns into a screen. As I think this is meant to showcase some of the new plays that they're going to have into the game and some of the unique schemes that they're going to implement into the game. As they mentioned on their website, they're going to have over 2,800 new plays, including unique schemes like Rice's modern option and Penn State's gadget heavy. So there's going to be some really unique, overpowered formations added to the game this year as well. Before the camera purposely rotates over to show a block, which is not necessarily the most exciting thing, but they're doing this because they want to talk about their new blocking, which to me, the blocking was already really good last year, but they talk about some other things on defense like stunts, twists, and custom zones. And they really hammer home the new hit stick as well as the new, fighting for yards animation before they show this diving SWAT, which is really what I think meant to show that the coverage is supposed to be that much better. And they talk about that on their website here, where they talk about the hit stick once again. But the really interesting thing that I see is that they say you can call different stunts and twists to optimize your pass rush. Now, if it's just simply calling plays, because there was plays in the game already, but this goes as far as to say at the line of scrimmage, meaning that there might be a new feature in the game that allows you to customize your defensive play by calling a stunt or a twist with your defensive lineman, which could lead to some really overpowered blitzes and exploits. And it also calls out a new custom zone feature, but it doesn't tell us anything about this, saying that we have to wait for the deep dive to find out more. And then it transitions to another opportunity to show this new blitz, as you're going to see on the next play here when they're showing off the new stadium pulse, where they talk about more intense camera shaking, new heads-up display visuals, and clock distortion that simulates the high pressure of playing as a visitor in a hostile territory. As you can see, the receiver here can't hear what's going on, meaning that he's probably not going to run the right route. We've seen this in Madden before, where basically you get the squiggly lines effect. As you can see, a stunt on this play called to the point where he hits the quarterback pretty quick and he forces an interception. Before we get back to some more pageantry, as we see Akron using the tire on their head. Once again, no school is too small. You see the coaches shaking hands, which will obviously be a part of every pregame as they come out to meet at the center of the field, if not the end of the game. This might be when the game's over, which is possible. And then it really goes into a lot of new catching animations. You can see right here the two cover athletes with Jeremiah Smith coming down with a 1-foot catch catch, maybe a little behind the back catch here, a little bit late catch to Ryan Williams as he comes down with the ball and then once again stretches for the end zone, before they show a bunch of trophies, which could be in reference to the fact that they said that the trophy room is back based off of popular demand, so you can show off all the different type of trophies that you earned throughout your career in every game mode. Now, there were a lot of things mentioned on their website that they couldn't necessarily put into a trailer, because I don't know how you would really convey a lot of these things. I'm going to go over some of these things now. First up, they talk about dynamic substitutions, which I know a lot of people are asking for sub packages where you could, do mass substitutions. I don't know if that's what it's going to be, if it's a play on words, but it says that it'll allow you to rotate players in and out on the fly, no pause screen needed. When they say that, it makes me wonder if I'm going to be able to save my depth chart offline and carry it into an online game, which was super annoying. Every single game you had to change your depth chart, or you had to hope that your opponent gave you more than 30 seconds to change your depth chart, which was really stupid. So hopefully they fix that as well. And they do talk about 2 features that will be added in the game that probably won't be there at its launch. Things like formation subs, which is a little bit more to the point, I think, that what people wanted, and something called protected opponent settings are coming. So these are things that are not going to be in the game at launch, but will be added to the game over the course of the year. Also, I'm going to go over some game modes that weren't really mentioned yet. Things like Ultimate Team, which they don't really say much about at all, which makes me think they really didn't put a lot of time into that. Road to College Football Playoff looks like it's going to be the exact same, or at least they're not putting out a lot of information about that. But when it comes to Dynasty and Road to Glory, these are the 2 modes that have the most information. I already went over the majority of the stuff from Road to Glory, so I want to talk about Dynasty, as they talk about some very new and interesting things that I think a lot of people were asking about, one of which being crossplay, as they say that crossplay is going to be in College Football 26. So if your friends on Xbox and you're on PlayStation, you're going to be able to get into an online Dynasty with them. You also have the ability to get up to 32 online people in a Dynasty now. Last year was only 20. So these are 2 very important improvements on Dynasty, but other than that, it really doesn't talk much about many changes to Dynasty. It does make it sound like they tried to make it a little bit more unpredictable when it comes to things like the transfer portal and when it comes to things like recruiting, because I know there were so many exploits last year, as they basically use that terminology, as they say, navigate the now expanded and more unpredictable transfer portal featuring thousands of players each year, which is something else that people talked about. They said that the transfer portal rarely ever had any big time players in it, any 5-star players. So now when they say featuring thousands of players each year, it makes it sound like you're going to have more opportunities to get bigger players, more, obviously team changing players like that. It also talks about how personnel management has never been more important. It talks about basically managing the new dynamic deal breakers. So now they're talking about recruiting. It says the new dynamic deal breakers and traits while trying to retain your favorite playmakers and cement your program's legacy. So they're basically saying, in not so many words, that they're going to try to make it a little less easy to break the game when it comes to recruiting and the transfer portal. They also talk about Team Builder. They're going to bring Team Builder back, and they also say you're going to be able to import your favorite custom teams that you already made last year seamlessly into the new game, which makes a lot of sense considering this is most likely a roster update with a few new features anyway that they've been adding over time. They go as far as to say that you can refine your team's details and explore enhanced roster editing options, allowing for greater control over your identity and legacy. It says stay tuned for more from the deep dive, but it sounds like they're trying to improve Team Builder. So that's all the information I have for today, but if you guys want to see more videos that I'm going to be making in the future, make sure to be a subscriber. And if you want to see some videos that I made about previous information that I didn't cover in this video, I'll have that pop up on the screen, so just click links. And until next time, thanks for watching, man. My shit out. Need more help or just want to show your support? Then head over to my Patreon and join my team, where you can get exclusive content like ebooks and bonus plays, as well as early access to my vids and more. Link in the description below.